All right, everybody, welcome back for another one. And I wanted to start this video off confirming for you guys that Biden has indeed, or his transition team anyway, declared that Gary Gensler will be the chosen new chairman of the SEC. So Gary Gensler has been selected by Biden's transition team, and that was confirmed today. So people were speculating that that's the selection that was going to happen, but it is confirmed. And this is significant in many ways. I think the most important thing about all this is Gary Gensler understands crypto, and I think that there's no coincidence why he was chosen. If you listen to the guy talk, he clearly understands blockchain and cryptocurrency. He's also served as a professor at MIT teaching a blockchain course, so he gets it. That's why he was picked. So if you need more confirmation as to what the future of the world looks like, well, this guy being chosen to be the chairman of the SEC because of his crypto knowledge is no coincidence. Right? A couple positive and negative takeaways, I guess you could say here. He has clearly demonstrated that he understands Ripple and XRP. He understands their products, all of them that they have built. He said in 2018 that he was fully confident that XRP and Ripple was selling XRP essentially in a securities type fashion. So he basically confirmed that he thought it was a security. He's also said that something could be a security and later on not be a security, depending on the circumstances. So that was 3 years ago now at this point, almost, that he said that. Obviously, a lot of things have changed since then with the technology that Ripple has built. But he also did say that any ICO is a security. He basically said that with clarity, right? And then he also said that airdrops don't get a free pass, and that is definitely not a loophole in the system. So what he basically said is that everything in crypto is a security except for Bitcoin. Maybe Ethereum gets a pass at this point, but Ethereum had an ICO, so it could be that it was a security and now it isn't. Same with maybe XRP. But personally speaking, I don't think this is going to matter in the long term. It's just going to be the projects that you're invested in. If they had an ICO that the United States citizens participated in, they might get hit with a fine, right? But it's not like it's going to be the end of the world. They can't just come here and ruin all this technology and innovation. Gary himself has said that he has no intention to stifle innovation as well. He just said that there basically needs to be regulations in place, and that if they want to participate in this market, they're going to have to abide by the laws. So basically, there's like three that aren't securities, according to him, right? Bitcoin would be one for sure because it didn't have an ICO or anything. Litecoin as well would fall under that category. And there would be a few others. So, not going to hammer this home too much. In reality is regulations are coming to crypto. You should have always expected that. This is not going to continue to be the Wild West. For those of you that don't know, when the stock market came out, it was just like crypto. It was like a Wild West. Everyone just doing whatever they wanted with it. You had companies that would be buying up other companies' shares to try and destroy their company, or they would be printing millions of their own shares to dilute their share value. They did whatever they wanted, and then along came the SEC with regulations, and they created guidelines. So expect something similar in crypto. But all this does long term is bring legitimacy to the asset class. All right, and make no mistake, this is a new asset class. They're just going to have regulations that they have to abide by. And speaking of the early stock market, like I said, if you guys don't know, you haven't studied it or anything, check out this documentary on History Channel or Amazon. You can find it as well. It's called The Men Who Built America, the one specifically about Andrew Carnegie, J.P. Morgan, Cornelius Vanderbilt, Rockefeller, and Ford. All right, so this is a very interesting documentary if you want to learn basically how America came about and how these guys have all left their footprint on America still to this day, right? With JP Morgan being the largest bank in the US still. So, and they do talk about the history of the stock market and stuff like that. So, something interesting there if you'd like to check it out. Next up, Grayscale holds the key to Bitcoin, hitting 40K, says JP Morgan. So there wasn't a lot of news today worth covering, in my opinion. I just wanted to talk about a few articles that stuck out to me. So Grayscale Investments, the world's largest digital asset manager, could hold the key to Bitcoin's short-term price outlook, according to JP Morgan Chase. There you go. There's the name again. Just talked about him, right? So the strategists over there at JP Morgan believe Bitcoin could lose its luster over the short term unless it can break out above 40K. Right? And I've said basically the same thing. I think that we are at a local top here, and we will go lower before we go higher. All right. So Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which currently has 23 billion in assets under management, will play a crucial role in whether Bitcoin returns to that level or not, at least short term, right? But another thing I wanted to point out, it is crazy now. They have 23 billion in assets under management. From a financial advisor perspective or wealth management perspective, that is insane. All right, I think 23 billion. What is it right now? Let's just take a look. So they are charging 2% in management fees, which is also outrageous. Most financial advisors, asset managers will charge less than 1% in order to just stay competitive. But Grayscale is benefiting from the fact that they are the only basically ETF available to traditional markets. So it's Bitcoin exposure, where they custody the Bitcoin for you without it actually being an ETF, but it basically is an ETF, and it's available on all major traditional markets. So, but anyway, the 2% in fees, they're raking in $460 million a year in management fees alone, and they don't even manage money. They just buy Bitcoin. You give them money and they buy Bitcoin. What? And then they charge 2%. Oh man. It'd be great to be in their shoes. I think it's no coincidence either that they've been allowed to stay in this position. All right. They clearly have connections. Who knows how deep they run, but they are just reaping the benefits of being basically the only ETF in existence, at least here in US markets. All right. 460 million to do nothing. That's good. Hey, you guys can give me your money and I'll buy Bitcoin like crazy for you for 2% in management fees. Go right ahead. So they're saying the flow into the Grayscale Trust would likely need to sustain 100 million per day pace. So apparently right now it's bringing in $100 million per day in assets under management. Another outrageous number that any financial advisor or asset manager would love to have, all right? Especially if all you're doing is buying something and you're not even managing a portfolio or moving money around for people. All right. Just wanted to point this out mostly because it's impressive what they're able to rake in right now as far as profits. I don't think this is sustainable at all. I think they eventually will end up losing a significant amount of market share, but hey, right now they get the benefit. So we'll see what happens. Also wanted to point it out because I think we're going lower, and got another article here that says basically the same thing. The case for Bitcoin price dropping to 27K in a possible bearish scenario. All right, not going to read the whole article, but basically they're saying 34,500 has been a critical support level that's been holding. If it breaks, the next major support level will be 30,500, and then under that, if 30K breaks, this trader is saying no buying until down to 27Ks. And I think we can land right in those same exact areas as I talked about. You know, I briefly said 25,000. That was just glancing at the chart, but you know, come here and you know, I put this pattern in here from 2017. It ended up with a basically a 38% pullback from top to bottom. So if we got that yet again, the current peak was like 42,000. 38% pullback would take us about to 25,800. So right in the ballpark of what this guy is thinking. But as I've said before, you know, money flows kind of like electricity or water, right? It always takes the path of least resistance, right? So if you have no more buyers, you're going to have to go lower. Path of least resistance is going to be lower, find more buyers, and then we continue up, right? So all things equal and nothing historically devastating happens with the Tether case. I think we consolidate here, have one more dip down like the mid-20s area, and then we continue up. All right. Someone asked me to take a look at the gold chart. For one, before I even say anything about the gold chart, I do believe that the price is manipulated. I think it's pretty obvious. We have multiple scenarios where JP Morgan and other banks have been charged with fraud for manipulating the price of gold, specifically down, right? They keep the price of gold down. They don't want it going up. But if you look at the chart and you look at the current conditions of the world, I think it's inevitable that the price of gold continues to go up a lot. I'm not even big into gold. I don't have any, only because I think crypto is the future. It doesn't mean gold won't gain value. Of course it will, most likely, especially in terms of dollars, right? Because they're blowing up the dollar, inflating it into oblivion. But anyway, from a technical standpoint, it looks to me like gold, where obviously it made a new high off that run over 1800 that was hit, 1900 that was hit in 2011, made a new high, pulling back, consolidating, testing the high as support, and I think that we will definitely see continuation up. And all I did right here is I grabbed this breakout pattern from the last cycle, put it over. Obviously it doesn't have to do anything like this. I'm just showing you what I could see playing out, right? Over the next years, basically if you laid over the same pattern that happened before, by 2026 we'd see close to a $6,000 price for gold. I would not be surprised at all to see something like that. Wouldn't be surprised to see 10,000, all right? Because they're not going to stop printing. They've already determined that the choice is to print dollars until they're worthless, basically, what it looks like. And if you come over to the money supply stock, this is M2 money stock right here. This is the dollar. As you can see right now, we're at over 19 trillion in circulation, and this is just since March of last year. They have just decided to start printing this thing into space. So I think all assets, at least over the next few years, even if we have a massive dip, like a panic sell in the market, I think it will rebound quick like we saw last year and continue up, because when you're measuring things in terms of dollars and they're printing dollars into oblivion, then your asset values in dollars will continue to go up, right? I don't see why they wouldn't, at least over the next 5 or so years, right? Who knows what happens around the world after that. All right, just my take there. I don't do a lot with gold, but I figured I would take a look since someone asked. All right. Hope that was informative. As always, please like and subscribe, share with your friends and family, and stay tuned for the next one. Thanks.
What is a cashless society? What does it actually mean in a literal or high-level sense?
Money will become like these, relics of a different age, and will only be found in places like this. In other words, hard cash will disappear. It will become electronic, transferred by things like these.
Then Tracy is in Beijing to show us what a nearly cashless society actually looks like. Ben, good morning.
Mobile payment transactions in China reached a cumulative total of 277.4 trillion RMB in 2018, ranking #1 in the world, according to the recently released statistical report on internet development in China. As of June 2019, online payment users in the country reached 633 million. The cashless society is now approaching.
When's the last time you paid with cash? Well, chances are cash has taken a backseat to the plastic in your wallet and smartphone pay apps.
Denver 7's Ryan Luby explains the digital pay revolution and why not everyone is on board.
The cashless society, the cashless society.
The cashless society.
The cashless society is now approaching.
The cashless society.